Sleep is a vital component for good health, energy and well-being. It can enhance our memories, ward off colds, help us to feel happier and less anxious. In addition to a long list of health complications, a lack of sleep can play havoc with our emotions. Only about 2/3 of adults obtain the recommended 7 to 9 hours sleep per night. Improving the amount of sleep we get is easier than the quality. If you've noticed that things have started to drift, just try moving bedtime back slowly by about 15 minutes every few days until you're back on track. When we talk about sleep quality, this is falling asleep and staying asleep. It can take commitment, but a great night's sleep has a host of benefits, including focus, flexible thinking, and memory retention. Small changes can make a really big difference to the quality of sleep. So next, we're going to spend some time looking at simple tips to achieve a more restful night's sleep. Environment. First, consider the sensory environment. You want to keep the bedroom cool, quiet, and dark to try and stop any unnecessary distractions. Often we won't be aware that these things are affecting our sleep. Some people have sensory differences, which means they might be sensitive to light or sound. It might help to turn off appliances and reduce noise by just slightly moving the bed away from the wall if somebody's on the other side. For some people, an electric fan can also help mask the noise. You could also consider blackout blinds, a blanket over the curtains, or even an eye mask for kind of summer evenings and early risers. Next, I want you to think about your own bedding. What are you sleeping with at night? The person you support may not be able to let you know that the duvet is too hot, and a cool room can help regulate our body temperature. If possible, find another place to do activities and keep bed for winding down. This will help strengthen the association between bed and sleep. Bedtime routine. A consistent bedtime wake-up time can really help regulate our body clock and promote those feelings of sleepiness. We often set an alarm to wake up, so why not try setting one for bedtime? It's really important to try and keep those get ready for bed tasks in the same order every night. For example, wash, change, hot drink, story. This will help the person know what to expect, so the routine becomes familiar and predictable over time, and it also signals it's time for bed. Use visual support to increase understanding. It can be really helpful to indicate parts of a new routine until they become familiar for the person. Develop a relaxing bedtime routine and try hard to separate activities that cause excitement, stress or anxiety from this time. Try dimming the lights an hour before bed and use this time to wind down. Try and keep these activities low energy. So for example, a warm drink, reading, colouring, a bath. The change in temperature after a warm bath can actually help us make us feel sleepy. A lot of time people can find this really difficult. So together try and choose activities which work for the person and help them to feel in control and offer choice as much as possible. For example, a choice of 2 herbal teas or a choice between a collection of audio tapes. Try and avoid these things. Firstly, napping. It can seem like a really good idea to get us through the rest of the day, but can confuse our sleep schedule and stop us developing that kind of normal wake sleep time. If the person you support feels tired, sit down, chill, do some of those low level kind of energy activities, but try and avoid sleeping till bedtime. Try also to avoid overexcitement near bedtime, late evening exercise, and going to bed kind of full hungry or thirsty. Indigestion can really affect kind of sleep, so try and avoid those heavy meals. One of the really important things to avoid before bedtime is electronics, and this can be really hard for all of us. Particularly when you're struggling to sleep, it can be really tempting to fiddle on your phone. But the blue light that your phone emits can delay the release of melatonin and can make the brain feel more alert. So try and encourage the person you support to charge it away from their bed. But if you think this is going to be really hard for them to do, use night mode, which can reduce the amount of blue light that's kind of emitted from their screen. Also, try and avoid caffeine late in the day. It actually takes up to 8 hours for it to wear off, and we need to remember this can be found in chocolate, Coke, and even decaf coffee. So decaf coffee has about 30% of the caffeine of a regular cup of coffee, so we also need to avoid decaf kind of later in the day. There's some things that you should try to do. So try to go to bed when you feel tired. Try and get out into natural light. Particularly sunlight in the morning, it can kind of help reset our internal body clock. Try and think about problems before bed. So set some time aside. The aim is to try and avoid doing these things while you're in bed. Often planning for the next day can help alleviate worries. Try and keep active. Regular exercise, we know it banishes that pent-up tension and stress we get, but it also promotes a really good quality of sleep. And finally, if you can't sleep, then get up. Lying in bed can increase anxiety, so actually try going into another room and doing something really relaxing. Sometimes people can also develop a fear of going to bed, and it can really help to explain the importance of a good night's sleep. Social stories particularly can be really useful to reassure the person that they are safe. Or you could try scheduling in talking time. So talking time about their worries. But we need to remember that bedtime needs to be positive and relaxing. So we need to do this talking time before the bedtime routine begins. It can also really help to explore how the person feels after a good night's sleep and how they feel after a bad night's sleep. And I think lastly, what you need to remember is there are some things that are beyond your control. So if the person you're supporting, if you think they're in pain, or if you think their medication might be affecting their sleep, please contact a medical professional. But also seek advice if you don't feel that you're able to cope or the sleep problems are affecting their quality of life.